I am admittedly 40 years old, and I just played the 2006 Game Boy Advance game Mother 3 for the first time. 2 days ago, I cried for nearly 20 minutes straight through its final battle. There are no cutscenes of brilliant explosions or gruesome deaths in this battle. It ends quietly with a single line of text on screen. Lucas remembered Klaus's smell. I read that line. I sat with that line. The levees of my emotions broke and outpoured a heavy, heart-wrenching sob. The last thing our hero of the game, Lucas, experiences of his long-lost brother Klaus before his final collapse is remembrance of who Klaus once was. Remembrance of the Klaus that he once loved. He remembers his brother before the capture. He's only left with dreams of who his brother could have been if this sickness hadn't overcome him. It's a story of two brothers on opposite sides of a war that neither of them asked for, but it showed up on their shores anyway. It's a tale as old as time, but I've never experienced it quite like this. The Mother 3 player experiences this tragedy primarily through text, game mechanics, and music. Almost no character or sprite animation occurs in these final moments of the battle. That line of text for me is when this stopped being a video game and transcended into becoming literature. I've felt this depth of emotion from a video game before, but I've never felt it expressed so viscerally through the mechanics and math of a battle. Forced to peacefully and non-violently endure Klaus's blows as I waited for him to come to his senses, bearing witness to Klaus's waning strength as the collective grief between he, our lost mother Hinawa, and myself, Lucas, starts to finally hit him. It slowly withers down his strength and his will to fight. Mother 3 achieves a form of expression of authentic feelings that transcend contemporary expectations of the medium and art style in which it's delivered. This is ostensibly a children's game that we're dealing with, and yet it made me, a 40-year-old man with no prior nostalgic attachment to it, cry, quite forcefully. I cried and shook, processing some emotions that I didn't even realize that I had been holding on to. Moments like this throughout Mother 3 evoke the same ineffable nostalgic ache for a lost humanity that Ghibli films such as Princess Mononoke or The Wind Rises consistently do, allowing them also to transcend the concept of a children's movie. But they're still also children's movies, sort of. It's the type of work which reveals different pains that we've quietly been holding on to and rips them open to heal anew. The types of emotions it will tap into may vary depending on which season of life you are experiencing at the time of play or of viewing. The same way most Ghibli films are likely to hit you differently as an adult or parent than they do as a child. That is, the more you mature, the more they reveal their maturity unto you. Just as a child won't catch the classical music samples and motifs sprinkled throughout Mother 3's soundtrack, they also probably aren't going to understand the specificity of its message of love, hope, grief, and kindness as your strongest weapons against creeping authoritarianism and fascist threats. But still, if given the chance, a young person will feel and internalize these themes in their bones. I know this because I experienced it myself as a child in the 90s playing video games like Final Fantasy VII. This is why I've always loved stories that treat children and their emotions with maturity and seriousness, while still appealing to their sense of play and wonder. Shigesato Itoi's Mother series is excellent at this. This is probably its defining feature, and this is the magnum opus of that series. However, I found myself still teary-eyed thinking about that final battle in Mother 3 a few days later, so I continue to reflect on the awe-inspiring success of its gut-punching emotional resonance that relies so heavily on execution over substance. This is not a game whose cult following comes from a love for its brilliant plot twists and spoiler moments. It does not rely on them at all as some sort of trick to earn players' emotional investment. In fact, it's quite clear early on that Lucas' brother's Klaus is the commander who works for the fascist pigman army. You can see it as early as Chapter 5 when Lucas is confused for him by the pigmen. Mother 3 is first and foremost a game about people and how easily our grief can be corrupted by poisonous ideologies. It's made clear in Mother 3 that we are heading to a final showdown with Klaus for the last several hours of the game. And yet, the experience of that showdown is so explicitly tactile, visceral, sensory, and emotional in such a unique way that had never been executed before. As you are forced to remain peaceful and nonviolent throughout, the fight stings you in a way that you physically feel in your body as Klaus delivers blow after blow to the player and to Lucas. We as Lucas are repeatedly pummeled in a visually and hourly disorienting battlefield. The screen shakes repeatedly. Our HP odometer, which is unique to the Mother series, ticks down constantly. Mine, I believe, got as low as 4 HP at one point before a heal spell that I had set up desperately launched itself at the last second. Finite restorative items deplete throughout the 15 to 20 minute ordeal. We are given no indication of when or if this strategy of survival against all odds is going to pay off. We feel an acute stress and tension of how much more of this can I take as we try to patiently wait and trust that our mother's prayerful voice will reach Klaus and bring him to his senses before all hope is lost. All the big graphics, controller rumble, and haptic features in the world have never come close in a modern game to making me feel as immersed in the blows of this battle with such authenticity as this did. But suddenly, after we revisit the brothers' earliest memory together, Klaus's loss of will and his strength to fight is shown, mostly in altering math and text boxes. Klaus's attacks begin to do negligible damage. Klaus's strength wanes as his memory slowly returns. We are told Lucas wanted to cry. Finally, Klaus's mother's prayers reach him. She states that she knows he must be exhausted. She invites him to rest. It's an invitation which so many confused men in Klaus's same position, men who cause pain to others, secretly and subconsciously ache to hear more than anything else in the world. A permission to let go of the pain that makes them behave this way. Klaus then removes his armor, his branding as a member of that fascist cult. His face looks just like kind-hearted Lucas. He attempts a final, inexplicable lightning attack on Lucas. The damage is reflected back to him by the same Franklin badge which Lucas wears and he's relied on to keep him safe for the past several hours. The reflected lightning lands on Klaus. The game tells us it is a mortal blow, a message we've dreaded and likely seen many times throughout our often difficult 24 or so hour playthrough of this game. Before collapsing, we are told Klaus staggers to Lucas, and then we receive that final line of text. Lucas remembered Klaus's smell. We are helpless to do anything for him. All Lucas gets to keep of his brother Klaus after so much time searching is his memory and the grief that will proceed from this moment forward. But Klaus knows and accepts his fate. With his dying breath, he repeatedly apologizes to and thanks his brother Lucas. This is his way of repenting for his capture, for succumbing to the spell of the fascist pigman army and their leader Porky, and for the harm that he did in turn going to war with his brother and his home of Tazmily Village. Whether it's in a video game, halfway around the world, or on my street, there is one thing I know in my core. War is hell. It lands at people's front door, uninvited, at the whims of selfish, immature, and lonely men like Porky. We then send our mother's babies to fight some other mother's babies. Just like Lucas, Klaus, Hinawa, and Flint, everyone always loses. Mothers are left to plead and pray for their children's safety from so far away that maybe some of them will make it out alive. Hoping against hope, their boys might remember all their mothers ever wanted from them. Grow up to be kind. That will make us proud. As I experienced this tearful ending, I ached for all the babies who are losing their mothers. I ached for all the mothers who are losing their babies. I ached for all of humanity. But I also felt human for the first time in a while. It reminded me why I love humanity, because there are other humans who crave the same type of emotional beauty, art, and kindness in this world we've been given that I do. Above all else, though, I prayed that my own baby will grow up to be kind and make me proud, just like you, just like her mother. Thanks for listening.